And without further ado, we will let on to our speaker for the day, the expert for the day, Mr. Parag Kumar. And before you begin, Parag, a few instructions for our attendees today. I would request all of you to post your questions in the chat box, and we will be addressing them. Our expert will be addressing them towards the end of the session. Also, it's a humble request that please stick towards the end of the session. We will be distributing some participation certificates for the webinar, and there are some amazing exclusive offers for all of you. Well, I won't take much of your time, Parag. Please, over to you.
Yeah, 𝗪𝗏, if you could help me, please, minimize the black stuff which is coming at the right. So I'm not able to see the content.
Parag, is it okay? Do you have the PPT with you, just in case?
Yes, I'll need to just open the PPT in my system and probably share the screen. Just give me a minute.
Sure, no problem. I think it'll be more
Better to
conducive
share.
if you share your own screen and you'll be able
Yeah,
to
just
just
a second.
navigate.
Just a second. I'll do that.
No
Just give me a
problem.
minute.
Meanwhile, I'm just going to the chat. Prem, hi. I see your comment. Yes, we will be able to reach you out again today and solve all your queries. And everyone is able to see some gray boxes. I understand. We just give us 2 minutes and we are solving it for it. In the
Yeah, just
interim.
give me a minute. Just give me a minute.
No problem,
I'm
Parag. You
opening
can
it.
take your time. Team, can you stop sharing and try resharing the presentation? I think we'll be able to remove the gray out boxes then. No, I guess, Neeraj, it's the same issue. There are some gray boxes popping up. Yes.
Yes,
And I think it's
just give me a
appearing for
minute.
everyone.
Yes. Just give me a minute.
No problem. While our expert takes his time to just present the screen and the PPT, this is for everyone here. That in
Yes,
today's
it's done.
session, towards the end, we will be sharing some exclusive offers. So all of you who are really keen on enrolling towards a PMP certification and doing the examination, please look forward towards the end, and we'll be giving you something amazing. I can promise you on that. Parag, were you able to find the PPT?
Yeah. I was able to find the PPT. Just give me a minute.
Sure.
Just give me a minute. Let me maximize the screen. Yes. Oh, while the other, you cannot start screen sharing while the other. Okay. I guess you will need to stop sharing the screen.
Yeah. Need to just stop sharing so that Parag will be able to take it forward.
Yes. So, thank you guys. Thank you very much. Sorry for the delay. First of all, apologize for the delay in joining the session. because I was just out of another session, came straight away over here. Sorry for being late, and again, sorry for taking a delay time for being able to share the screen. Sorry for that again. Okay. So yeah.
Neeraj, will
So
you be able to do a full screen?
oh, uh,
Yeah,
full
just
no. Oh, wait 1 second. I think it's got minimized. Just give me a minute. Yeah, just give me a minute.
no problem.
I'll stop sharing the
Yeah,
screen and
yeah,
I'll start it once again. Just give me a minute. Yes. Okay. I don't think it'll be possible to have a full screen because that's not there over here. I'm not getting that particular option as well. Slideshow. Okay. Let's see from the current slide. Okay. Yeah.
yeah,
Here it
that's the
goes.
one. Brilliant.
Yeah.
We can begin.
Here it goes. So finally, let's
Yes, yes,
let's
yes.
get started. Yeah. So I'm a PMI PMP certified ATP trainer from PMI, right? So I'm here to help you guys understand what PMP brings to the table and how it's going to transform your lives and your careers. And along with that, how do you need to prepare, to crack the exam? So that's what I'm here to do. So when we talk about PMP, even before getting into how important are these chapters to clear the exam, first thing is what is PMP? So we know that PMP is project management professional, right? All of us are aware of the full form. So we know that it's PMP, project management professional. It's a credential given by Project Management Institute, US. Okay, so it's a flagship program of PMI. So we as a training authorized training provider of PMI PMP program. So we are here to you know be a drop in the ocean to enhance and to transform your lives and careers, right? So that's the reason why we are here. So PMP, what does it bring to the table? It helps you to get a transformational job opportunity. There are more than 27 million job vacancies all over the world, and there are not even 100 skilled professionals, right? So that's what PMP brings to the table. It helps you to integrate with the industry, understand the concepts, and helps you to get a transformational project management and a leadership role in organizations. Uh, so that's basically how it goes, right? So how important, what do you need to learn for your PMI PMP exam, and how important are these chapters for the exam? So first of all, uh, what are you going to learn? You're going to learn about the business environment. So when we talk about business environment, we are basically going to talk about, what what are the factors we need to take into account to initiate a project or to get a project approved. So we are going to talk about the internal factors within the organization and the external factors outside of the organization. How we need to take into account all these factors, take into account the regulatory requirements, the compliance requirements, the value, benefits, all of that. How do we manage change? We need to look at all these things, right? And the strategic part of the organization when we talk about the business environment. So here, when we look at the business environment, we are actually going to say, what we need to have with us to get the project started, or rather to ensure that we select the right project. What are the things that we need to look at? So business environment chapter will not only give you the fundamentals of project management. So we may have a diverse crowd, right? So we may be having few developers who want to transition their career into project managers. We may have project coordinators, we may have expediters, we may have schedulers, We may have very experienced project managers who want to become project directors. So we may have people from across industries, across domains joining the program. So there we need to give a holistic view across industries how projects are managed. So here when we talk about business environment, it will be all in a generalistic way. Okay, so PMP is not catered to any specific industry. So you get a credential which is like a license where you talk about practicing project management, right? So when you talk about practicing project management, you can be a project management practitioner across industries, across organizations. You can be a mentor, coach, or a trainer to organizations across the globe. That is what PMP brings for you on the table. Okay. So first you need to learn those factors or those elements that will help you certify a project, that the project is capable to be selected. You can select the project and you can go ahead with the project, so it's viable. So you need to look at the technical feasibility and the economic viability of a project. So business environment will exactly tell you, you know what are the elements you need to take into consideration to approve the project, to get started with the project. So once you learn that, you will go to starting the project, where you will talk about identifying the stakeholders, how do we form teams, how do we build a shared understanding, and then definitely yes, how do we finalize on the project approach. So that will help you understand what do you need to do to start a project. So there we'll also talk about, once a business case gets approved, how do we build a shared understanding, how do we formulate the project charter with the stakeholders, and then once the project charter gets approved, how do we get to planning the project, that is developing the project management plan. So that's something very, very, very important. So here we are going to talk about planning the project. So planning the project will talk about planning all the different domains. So you're talking about not only the project management artifacts that you're going to use, but you're also going to talk about planning the scope, planning the schedule, planning the budget, planning the resources, planning the quality, planning the procurement, planning the risks, right? Planning the communication, planning the stakeholder engagement. So you're going to talk about all these things in planning the projects, and then finally to round it up, we are going to talk about how we are going to prepare an integrated plan which combines all the individual plans that we have prepared in these knowledge areas, right? So how are we going to talk about preparing a project management plan? So once we talk about preparing a project management plan and we say, okay, now the project management plan is prepared, now we are good to execute the project. That's when we need to lead the team, right? So when we talk about execution of projects, there comes the role of a project manager, where we need to lead the team. So it's not that project manager has no role in planning. Definitely, yes. Project manager's role is right from the beginning, but the leadership role comes to the fore when you're planning the project along with the team, and again when you're leading the execution of the project, because that's when you need to handle conflicts, you need to handle resolution of problems, you need to ensure that you implement risk response plans properly. So when you lead the team, you need to also talk about uh, managing your resources, acquiring your resources, managing your resources, leading virtual teams and co-located teams, collaborating with stakeholders, how you collaborate with stakeholders, how you motivate your team, what are the conflict or dispute resolution strategies that you're going to use, right? And what are the coaching styles that you're going to adopt. So you're going to talk about training, coaching, and mentorship over there. Okay. So that is about lesson 4. Then now all of us do not like to hear the word control, because whenever we hear the word control, we feel somebody is looking at us with a microscopic lens, trying to micromanage us, trying to point out our flaws, trying to reduce our increment by saying this is not good, that's not good, right? So we all do not like to hear the word control. So what PMI says, you cannot control human beings, you can only manage them. So we can only manage our team, right? So why we say support the performance is because here we are not going to talk about controlling in a negative aspect. We are going to talk about controlling in a positive aspect. That's why we talk about supporting the project team's performance. Because a project team is as good as its leader, that's your project manager. So if the project manager is not good enough, the team will also not be good enough. It's as simple as that, right? So we need to make our team we need to make our team a performing team. So how do we do that? We need to support the project team's performance, right? So we need to evaluate what are the tools and techniques given to them, whether they have a process knowledge, whether they have the product knowledge, whether they have the knowledge of the project as a whole, whether everyone has a shared understanding, whether they have the technical know-how, whether they have the physical resources. So we need to evaluate all these things. And once we evaluate all these things, we need to understand while they're executing the project, whether they are in line with the plan or not. So we have all the planned parameters on one side, and we have all the actual parameters which we are going to get when we are actually executing the project. For example, a simple thing we all know, we all do on a day-to-day basis is tracking the project, right? So here we talk about 30% project was planned to be completed on so and so date, but we have completed 25% as on today. So we are saying we are 5% behind the schedule. So what are we going to do to get back on track? So when we support the team performance, we will talk about all these things from all the domains perspective. So we'll talk about how we validate and control the scope, how we will help the team not to implement changes that do not add value to the project. So how we will talk about the scheduling part, how we will talk about the quality part, how we are going to control the schedule, how we are going to control the quality, how we are going to monitor the risks, right? How we are going to implement the changes. So we are going to talk about all these things from a project performance, team performance point of view. And once we come to a stage where we can close the project by basically looking at what is done and whether that's meeting the client requirements or not. So when we validate the scope and when we are going to ask the customer to also sign off the release by validating the scope, that's when uh, we get into the closure of the project and we talk about project closure, right? So how are these things distributed in your exam? So major portion of your questions are going to come from lesson 3 and 5. Around 60 to 70% of your questions will come from lesson 3 and lesson 5. Lesson 2 and lesson 4 will have around 25% of your questions, right? Out of that 60% which will come from lesson 3 and lesson 5, you will have about say 35% from lesson 3 and 25% from lesson 5. Now that can vary, okay, because your exam is a randomly generated exam. So that percentage can vary a bit. So some may get more questions on chapter 5, some may get more questions on chapter 3. But the distribution will be more or less even. Okay, you won't have too much of an uneven distribution there. Lesson 2 and lesson 4, out of that, you will get more questions, a bit more number of questions on lesson 2 and little bit lesser number of questions on you'll get more questions on lesson 4 and a little bit lesser number of questions on lesson 2. But lesson 2 questions will be more centered on the stakeholder part, the stakeholder engagement models, the team development model. Uh, those are the few things and your communication model, those are the few things on which you'll get few more questions when you talk about lesson 2. Lesson 4, you will get a lot of questions on, emotional intelligence, conflict resolution, coaching styles. You will also get questions on motivations. You'll get questions on acquiring resources, developing resources, and all these kinds of things. So there, you will have more of questions distributed to lesson 4 and little bit lesser number of questions to lesson 2. Again, not a huge variation, but yeah, you will you will be able to understand that when you read the questions. Now, business environment will give you few more questions on the numerical front, which will be more logically oriented. You don't need to use any formulas to solve it, unlike the problems that you will get in chapter 5, which need to be solved using formulas and logic. So business environment, you will get some problems, but that need to be solved using the pure logic. So you don't need to worry about that much. So business environment is something where you will get 10% of your questions, and then finally close the project of phase, maybe 2 to 3 questions of your entire exam you will get from this chapter. You wouldn't get more questions than that, because that's a very, very, very minuscule portion of the training, right? The least number of concepts are covered over there, and that doesn't take much time, right? Even in the practical part of it, closing a project, once everything is done, doesn't take time. Most of the time is absorbed in the different documentations that are prepared. So that is, and the basic process that is followed. So that is what we'll be discussing there, and that you'll be getting only 5% means around 2 to 3 questions, lesser than 5%. In fact, you'll get only 2 to 3 questions from this chapter, right? So that sums up this slide. So now, based on this slide, based on the previous slide, what do you get for your exam? As we talked about all the 6 chapters, all these 6 chapters will be focused on the three project life cycles, which will talk about predictive, adaptive, and hybrid approaches, right? So here we will cover the people domain, the process, and the business environment domain. So people domain will actually be reflected across all the chapters, but more of the people domain you will get to experience when you talk about leading the team and supporting the project team. There you will have more concepts from the people front. But yeah, when we talk about chapter 3, chapter 2, and chapter 1 also, you will have people domain reflected over there, like concepts which will tools which will talk about focus groups, which wherein we need to have stakeholders. So we will also talk about many other techniques like voting techniques, decision making techniques. So all these involve people, right? So we will be talking about the people domain there. Process domain, yeah, people use processes to execute the project within a business environment which has internal and external factors. So we'll talk about all the 49 processes in different ways, and the business environment that goes into helping us do the project profitably. So we will talk about the internal environment and external environment. We'll talk about how we measure the benefits and value. We'll also talk about the controlling measures, as in the earned value management measures that we will use to ascertain how well we have executed our project within the designated parameters. Now, what will you get for the exam, right? So what will you get for the exam? You have got 180 questions, but will all the 180 questions be evaluated? No. All the 180 questions will not be evaluated. You'll have only 175 questions which are evaluated. So out of the 175 questions, you do not have any negative marks for the wrong answers. So you have got 230 minutes for 180 questions, but you really do not know whether or not 180 questions will work out, right? Which of the 5 questions will not be evaluated, you are not aware. So when you talk about 180 questions, you need to, you know, attempt all the 180 questions with the same seriousness for the exam, because you don't know which of those 5 questions are the ones which are not evaluated. Can be any question. So can be the first 5, can be the last 5, can be scattered in the exam. So you need to look at 180 questions, 230 minutes, and you'll have 2 optional break of 10 minutes each. And what we suggest is you should not take these breaks, because if you take these breaks, it will ruin the momentum that you have built in each of the 3 sections. So you'll have 3 sections of 60 questions each. So at the end of the first section, you get a 10 minutes break, and at the end of the second section, you get a 10 minutes break. But we advise you all not to take the break, because that will ruin the momentum that you have built. Because while you're doing the exams, the first 10 or 15 questions take a little more time. You take a little more time to do those first or 10 to 15 questions, because you need to fall into the groove. So once you fall into the groove and you finish the first 60 questions, you'll still be lagging behind time by about, say, 5 minutes or 8 minutes. So you'll make up for that time by the time you finish the second section. Now there, if you again take a break of 10 minutes, then you will be actually doing the catch-up game once you start the section, because then again you need to get your focus right. So you need to master the habit of doing the exam without taking any breaks. So when you do your mock tests, That's when you need to ensure that you do not take a break and sit continuously through the 3 hours, 50 minutes to do your exams. And what kind of questions are you going to get? You're going to get multiple choice questions and multiple response questions and match the following questions. Hotspot question will be one or two. Fill up the blanks. Although it's put over here, you will not get a single question from fill up the blanks because till today, none of my learners have told me that they've got fill up the blanks questions, right? So multiple choice, multiple response. Questions are the ones which you will get. There will be a distribution of say 60-40. Either you will get 60% multiple choice and 40% multiple response, or you will get 40% multiple choice and 60% multiple response. Either ways, 60% multiple choice, 40% multiple response, or 60% multiple response and 40% multiple choice. Can be a little bit more or less, depends. But this is going to be your question distribution. Now, when we say multiple response, what do we mean? We mean that it's a multiple choice question with multiple correct answers. So they will give you a scenario. All the questions will be scenario based. Okay, there will not be any single straightforward question which will talk about a concept. Talk about this is it. What is a concept? So you won't get this kind of questions which we are used to writing in our university exams, right? Descriptive questions. You won't get those kinds of straightforward questions. So it will be all scenario based questions with context driven into those questions. And definitely, yes, you will have multiple response uh, questions wherein you will have multiple choices to pick. So you will have a question with 8 choices, and they will ask you to pick uh, select any five select 5 correct answers. So the beauty of the PMI exam is, suppose you are not able, suppose you forget in one of the questions you have selected 4 instead of 5 correct answers. When you're going to submit the question, you will be the section, you will be shown the questions which you have not, wherein you have not selected the designated number of answers, which has been asked for you to select. So there at that point of time, what you need to do is you need to just select, you need to just read the question and read those choices which you have not selected and select the correct answer from those choices, remaining choices. Do not filter out, do not read the choices which you have marked and untick any of the answers there, because if you do that, you will be doing more harm than good. So whatever you have marked is marked. Now you need to pick up the correct answers from the ones which you have not marked. So that's what you need to look at, right? So that's about your feeling, how you answer your question over here. Your multiple choice questions again, you will have uh, multiple choice. You will be asked to select the best or the most appropriate answer. So what will happen is you will need to use techniques like elimination method for you to arrive at the best answer, right? So you'll generally have a couple of choices which are very confusing, or 2 or 3 choices which are very confusing. But if you're conceptually clear, you will be able to pick up the right answer. So that's basically the point here. So how to study for the exam? Give equal importance to all the chapters and all the concepts to be studied for the exam. Adopt a relational learning methodology. So what is this relational learning methodology? Right from concept 1 of the first class to the last concept delivered in the last class, all these are related to each other. Unless and until you understand the relationship and its application in day-to-day life, related to your life, project management, like any other thing, starts from home. You need to be a leader for yourself. Then only you can lead your families and your teams at teams at the office and the larger community as a whole, right? So relational learning methodology is something very important, because you need to relate one concept to another concept and move on. Only then will you be able to understand its practical application, and you would be able to understand whether uh, how you can use it practically to benefit the project. So adopt a scenario-based learning approach by putting yourself in the shoes of a project manager or leadership and uncover the strategies to resolve the problems. So for any concept that you are learning, you need to say, for example, okay, if I'm talking about affinity diagram, I'll just give an example. If I'm talking about affinity diagram is a simple grouping technique. Now, what do you mean by simple grouping technique? So I'm going to say, okay, which are the which are the basic features I want, which are the performance features I want, which are the delighters. So I will make 3 groups: basic features, performance features, and delighter features. I'll put each of those features under each of these groups. So that's a simple grouping. So you need to relate it like this. Each concept needs to be related to things in your day-to-day life, to your organization. Only then will you be able to have a holistic learning approach, right? Simulate a problem statement and its expected objective. Very important. So whenever you talk about a project arises out of a need. A need arises because of a problem statement. So you need to understand the problem statement clearly and its objectives. Only then will you be able to map the various concepts, tools, and techniques that can be used to resolve a complex problem. Without that, you will never be able to design the right solution for the stakeholders. List down all the key concepts with a brief description. So whenever you are learning any given concept, try to understand what the concept is all about and where it can be used. If you understand where it can be used, then more than half the job is done. So everything starts from the house, from the very simplest thing of making a breakfast to the most complex project where you are delivering the features in increments. Each and everything goes with a conceptual understanding of the solution that the stakeholder requests and what is the benefit that they are going to get. So how you can be successful as a project manager is by understanding these concepts, relating it to the day-to-day life and to your organization, and seeing where you can use these concepts, and also understanding what will happen if you do not use this concept. What is the consequence of not using this concept? So that is very, very important. So why, how, and what? That is the golden circle. When you learn any concept, why you are learning the concept, why you are using the concept, how you need to use it, and what are you going to get out of using it. If you do not use it, what are the issues? So if you approach learning in this way, you may take more time to learn, but you will not only clear the exam, but you will have a transformational career opportunity, right? So study by thinking that you are a project manager or a leader of a complex or a complicated project. Okay, so that is very important. Follow the method that best works for you by incorporating all do's advised by the instructor. So your instructor is the right person who is going to guide you, nobody else. Because your instructor himself or herself would have written the exam and cleared the exam. And it's about how you learn. What is your approach to learning? When you are learning the concepts, the effort that you're putting into learning the concepts, that will define what is the transformational career opportunity that you're going to get. So that is something very, very, very important. So when you learn, when you sit for a PMP session also, one thing to expect would be concepts, project management concepts related to practical day-to-day life scenarios, and to and to organizational project management scenarios, right? Life scenarios in the organization. That should be your expectation. Uh, the the true expectation that you should be having, the realistic expectation that you should carry out of a project management, a PMP session. Please understand, a PMP session is not like a Scrum session or a Scaled Agile session or any other session where you have fun activities, or where you have a you know what do you say, where you have breakout sessions for team interactions and you have a lot of activities. A PMP session will not have generally have those things, because a PMP session has lot of concepts to be covered, and each of those uh, concepts are very practically relevant to the day-to-day project management scenarios that exist in organization. So you need to know exactly how to use those. Unless and until you know how and where to use it and why you need to use it, you would not be a successful project manager, because just getting a PMP certification will not help you. You need to understand its practical application, and the sessions over here will get you uh, to achieve that, right? So So adopt the method that best works for you when you are studying, but incorporate all the do's and don'ts that is advised to you by the instructor. Only use authentic study materials as recommended by PMI and your instructor. So PMI gives certain authentic study material which you need to study for the exam. Apart from that, you may have your instructor providing you with certain materials. Please trust your instructors who provide you with materials, learning materials, because they would have spent hours and hours of their time behind the materials, validating them, and they would only give you correct materials. There would be nothing incorrect about those materials. So please trust those materials given to you by your instructors, and you can be rest assured that they would be the right source of truth for you to learn and to clear the exams. Okay. Now, how to study for the exams? Don'ts. So do not read the PMBOK and practice guides for the sake of reading them. Okay, I have to just read it for the sake. PMI has asked us to read, so we'll read it, we'll note down the points, we'll memorize it and clear the exam. That will not work out. That will not help you clear the exam, and you will not clear the exam. If you read it for the sake of reading, and if you focus on memorizing, you will not be able to clear the exam. Okay. Don't focus first and only on solving more questions. Many times I find in my what I find in my PMI PMP sessions is simple. Everyone asks from session 1, we want to do questions, we want to do questions, we want to do questions. What I always tell my learners is first understand the concept. Understand what you relate, how you relate it to your practical life. That is very, very, very important. Unless and until you relate it to your practical life, things will not work. So you need to understand the concept related to the practical life and to your project management scenarios. And then you need to start solving the questions. Without understanding the concepts, if you're only trying to solve the questions, you may still, by luck, clear your PMP exams. But after that, you will not be able to get a transformational career opportunity. That is the reason why we find some people, you may have read in Google and so many other places, what are the don'ts. So the don'ts when you study for PMP is, don't study for the sake of studying it. Study for it to transform your life. Then you will be the best project manager, you will be the best project leader. And PMP is a credential that will change your life. Okay. That's going to change your life positively. So look at it that way and take steps that will change your life. Don't hunt for PMP exam preparation guides available in the market. So I saw this guide, I saw X guide. My friend told me to buy 𝗪𝗵𝗁𝗀𝘀𝘁, so I went and bought it. Then someone else told me that you need to buy 101. There's a guide in the market which is called as 101 steps to cracking your PMP exam, which will give you more than thousands of questions. So let's go and buy that. Let's try that out. So that's not going to help you guys in any way. So please do not hunt or run behind PMP exam preparation guides. Although 𝗪𝗏𝗁𝗀𝘀𝘁 is a guide which is generally uh, told by even PMI authorized instructors, you can buy that, but I generally don't recommend any guides to buy. Okay, because that's got a monotonous way of learning. They put all the concepts just like a textbook. So if you just read it like a textbook, it's not going to help you practically. So don't study like a university exam or a school test. This will definitely not help the cause. Do not copy others' methods. So my friend studied it like this, so I'm also going to study it like that. So it's not going to help you. Don't Google up information and feel empowered, as there is a lot of misinformation. So rely on PMI material, authentic material from registered websites. Okay, if there are any which your instructor will be giving you, and PMI material available on the PMI websites. So PMI material available on the PMI websites will also include the PMI practice guides and your research papers and journals. So you need to look at all those things when you're studying for your exam. So don't rush up while preparing your exam. So generally people feel, oh, like, a scaled agile course or an agile project management course or like a scrum course. After PMP, I will write the exam in 15 days and clear. So then they start Googling up and they watch YouTube videos I have few of my learners who, who send me messages saying that, sir, I've seen a video which says I can pass my PMP exam in 15 days. I said, please don't look at such kind of videos because you'll be spoiling your life if you do that. So please listen to your instructors. Please listen to to your mentors who are, you know, PMI certified instructors. So they carry a lot of industry experience along with uh, PMI, PMP trainer certification as well. So they are the right people to guide you as mentors even for your careers ahead. Okay. So I not only come across as a PMI, PMP instructor certified by PMI, but also as a person with more than 18.8 years of experience in to project program and portfolio management across industries, starting from mechanical industries to software industries, right? So it's not only me, all PMI, PMP instructors will have a minimum of 15 years experience. That's the minimum benchmark to be a trainer. Once you're certified to be taking a class, that's a minimum benchmark. So you need to have more than that many years of experience generally to take a class, apart from being trainer certified. So when you have such kind of trainers of that pedigree coming and teaching you, so I have my mentors who are more than 25 years of experience, 30 years experience, who are also trainers, chief trainers. So when they come and teach, so we need to respect their experience and we need to understand, why they are here. They are here to shape up your lives. So we are all here to shape up your lives and to help you to get a transformational job opportunity, right? Nothing less than that. We want to transform your lives. So don't keep unrealistic targets of 3 to 4 weeks or 45 days to write the exam after completing the training. It will at least take you a minimum of 2.5 to 3 months to be able to write the exam properly and to get a transformational job after that. So if you prepare for about 3 months, uh, for about 4 hours to 6 hours daily, then you can give the exam in 3 to 4 months, and then you can get a transformational career opportunity. So don't just study it for the sake of a certification and salary increment. If you just study for the sake of that, then it's not going to work. So do not look at PMP sessions like fun sessions where you will, learn. Yeah, there is going to be fun because we are going to talk about our experiences in the industry, experiences across the organizations, how our bosses treated us or spoke to us when projects were going on. So not only the learners will share it, even I will be sharing it if I'm your trainer. So we will have fun, but not fun to the extent of the breakout rooms and giving activities and discussing on those activities, because those are all very good. You will be learning with a lot of fun, but at the end of the session, you will not end up achieving anything. You will get confused. You will not know where you started and where you finished. So uh, that's why generally PMP sessions are more technical project management oriented sessions where project managers who have a zeal to succeed, to transform the industry, come with a mindset that we need to be the best at our jobs and we need to learn the concept and we need to understand how to apply it. So the key to understanding the concept is to also ask doubts. So do not worry about asking a stupid doubt. No doubt is stupid. All doubts are very, very important doubts which could transform your lives, right? So when you are in a session, when you are learning, never think twice. Uh, Never think twice. You should be asking your doubts. There are no two ways about it, right? So we will entertain you asking your doubts. We will resolve your doubts. And only after resolving your doubts, we are going to move ahead to the next topic. But unless and until you guys uh, tell us you have a doubt, we cannot read into we cannot read into your minds, and we cannot actually understand you have a doubt or not. So as much as a trainer would want to help you transform your lives, you should also give a helping hand to the trainer and express your views openly during the training for the trainer to, modify the training as per your requirements so that everyone in the training session gets benefited. So essential reads for your PMP exam: 𝗪𝗶𝗹𝘀𝘁, Agile Practice Guide, Process Group Practice Guide, published research paper and journals. And then you have PMP exam is modeled on the syllabus outline as mentioned in the exam content outline. and questions are not limited to the content in the above prescribed reads. So PMI says these are the essential reads, but by no means the only reads or all the contents for your exam will be only catered to these. No. So you could have something which comes out of syllabus, but till today we have not encountered those kind of stuff. Whatever is there uh, in the learning material is what generally comes. So you don't need to worry about the that, right? And very important, as you keep learning, you need to know when to start practicing questions. So right from the first class, we want to do the questions. We want to do the questions. It will not work out. So finish learning the entire syllabus as prescribed by PMI at least once. Post this, complete one full revision of the entire syllabus. So first you learn the entire syllabus for about 1.5 months. During that time, you do some small practice questions which you come across at the end of each chapter. And post studying all the chapters, then you do one full revision. After doing one full revision, then you're ready to start practicing the questions. And when you're practicing the questions or solving the questions, how you need to start solving the questions. What kind of questions you need to start solving first, second, third, fourth. That hierarchy also needs to be followed. So simple concept oriented multiple choice questions first, like the ones you get in your competitive exams with one correct answer. If you know the concept, if you read the question and you have understood the concept, you can mark the correct answer. There is no complexity in those questions. So you need to answer those kind of simple questions first to get your to check on your conceptual understanding, to understand whether concept wise everything is clear or not. Then you need to look at multiple choice questions and matching questions. So then you will raise your level to multiple choice questions, which are little more complicated, where you will be asked to select the best answer. So you will get confused between two or three choices, and then you need to pick one. From there, you will learn, where you have gone wrong in your concept, what was lacking in your understanding, and you will be able to understand the concept better. Then you will talk about simple scenario based multiple choice questions. After that, complex scenario based multiple choice questions. And while you do all these all will be also a part of your KnowledgeHut practice question bank. All these different kinds of questions. So you need to be doing your practice bank to get an access to all these different types of questions. It will be a mix. It will be a mix. So you will be in that pool. Okay. Once you do that, then you will have complex scenario based multiple response questions, which will be a part of your KnowledgeHut mock tests. So you will need to do your KnowledgeHut mock tests. You will get those kind of scenario based questions. And if you have instructors who give you also mock tests, you should be happy and you should take those mock tests, because even those mock tests will help you. So this is how you need to prepare for your exam. This is the kind of questions that you must solve, and this is how you must go about the question solving. You should adopt this pedagogy to solve different kinds of questions, right? You should go in this sequence. Otherwise, if you straight away start with complex scenario based questions, you'll get demotivated and you'll feel that it's not the right cup of tea. So you shouldn't start straight away with complex questions. So think yourself as a starter or a learner into project management. Shed all the experience that we have had earlier and start from the scratch, from zero. Think that we are learners, we are going to start from the scratch, and we have to have the mindset to change. Only then will you be able to clear your PMP exam and be a transformational project leader. Okay. So that's very important. So this is again the way you need to approach your study and learn and solve the questions for your exam. Now, what are the strategies to solve exam questions? Empirical approach. What do you mean by empirical approach? We learn the concepts, the factual information that we get from PMI. We relate that to our experience and we match the concept with our experience. So factual knowledge plus experience gives you empirical approach. So You need to combine both and take an informed decision. While you're doing your questions, you need to identify key phrases, words, or sentences in the questions. And that will tell you exactly what is the next step you need to take as a project manager or a leader, right? Logical reasoning, when you do problems on earned value or problems on, benefits and cost in your exam, you will not need to use any formulas. Although formulas may be there in certain sections, which will be taught to you. But generally, you will not need to use any formulas. You will need to use a logical reasoning mindset to do those questions. That's how it works. Okay. Common sense approach. Simple things. When you read a question, the question says 20% was planned to be completed. As a project manager, when you review the progress, 30% has been completed. So the common sense is what we completed more work than planned, so we are ahead of schedule. So there you don't need to use a formula. So you need to use a common sense approach. Read the question and think from a common man's point of view where it demands that, and take your decision. Your decision will be the right decision. Elimination approach is very good where you have confusing questions. So when you do it with the elimination approach, you will end up using the right, marking the right answer. Trade-off approach. Now, what is trade-off approach? Out of the three choices, what is the best possible choice? So there you will not eliminate. You will do a trade-off approach. What is going to give you the best result? This is correct. This is correct. This is also correct. But what is the best out of the three? Which will give you the best result? It is just like, you are trading off. You want to go and buy a television, right? But you want n number of features, but you have X rupees to buy them, right? So you're going to trade off. You're going to see all the models of TVs, televisions, which are going to give you those features. And based on that, you're going to select the one which is going to give you the most number of features at the most optimum cost. So that is what will give you a trade-off approach. So you need to use a trade-off approach wherever you have been asked to select the most appropriate or the best answer, where you feel that, there are more than one correct answer. So there may be two different types of questions when you talk about select the best answer. You may have misleading choices which will make you feel that they are correct, but they are not. So that can be treated with an elimination approach. But trade-off can be done trade-off approach should be used where you have three correct answers, but out of that, which is the best? Looking at the scenario, you need to decide which is the best. So that you can do only when you do a trade-off approach. People's approach, when you're solving questions related to conflict resolution, related to motivation, related to team performance, always adopt a people's approach. Do not look at it from a top management, cost cutting kind of an approach. Adopt a people's approach because you need your team to back you to be a successful project manager. So looking at that, you need to look at a people's approach over there. Then the balancing act approach. What is this balancing act approach? You got, some tough questions in the beginning. So you were very vigilant. You wrote the exam very carefully. But then suddenly you got a string of easy questions. You became very happy. You didn't realize that you're making mistakes. You're making blunders. So you need to adopt a balanced approach to all the questions, irrespective of the degree of toughness. Be calm, cool, collective, and adopt the same calm approach to solve all different types of questions. You may take more time for one question and lesser time for the other, but do not get excited. Do not be over the moon when you see a question which could be similar or which you have seen before, because there also there will be a trick. So have do it, do the balancing act approach over there. Best outcome approach. Now, trade-off approach and the best outcome approach go hand in hand. So when you trade off your alternatives, you decide on the best outcome, right? So when you say what is the best outcome, that you need to look at the value proposition given in your question, and you need to understand whether that's going to give you the best result or not. So if that is what is going to give you the best result, as a project manager practically, then you choose that. So that's how you need to use all these approaches towards solving your questions for the exam, right? So it's now time to 10x your project management career. So the best way to 10x your project management career, is what? You need to first understand that we are project managers who are doing project management day in and day out without realizing the concepts that we are going to study. So when you are actually going to study the concepts, you will realize that actually I am doing it. Now, the beauty of studying the PMP course is, is that you will realize during each and every minute of the course that actually I am doing what I am studying. And I'm studying to do it better and to make a difference to the industry, not just to be an ordinary project manager like others, right? So the way to 10x your career is to first visualize yourself to make a change, to be able to transform, to make a transformation of 100x or 1000x in the industry. Now, when you visualize yourself in that role, that I am going to make a change, I am going to make a positive change to the life of people in the industry with this credential, then it's a whole different ball game. And I have practically done that, and that's why I'm here where I am today, right? So it's not difficult for you guys to do it because you already have a person who is talking to you who has walked the talk, and that's the reason why I'm here talking to you guys, because I know you guys are more intelligent, more receptive, more growth oriented, more career oriented than me. That's why you have come for this project management course, and you have come to this session organized by KnowledgeHut because you want to fly higher than many others in the industry. So to the welcome to the fraternity of budding project. Uh, I would say budding project managers. No matter how much experience we are always budding because we are always learning. So it's not that I am a trainer, so I don't need to learn anything. I will learn a lot of things from you guys if you guys are in my sessions. So I welcome you all to the Knowledge Hut family and Knowledge Hut fraternity. And we look forward to enhancing your careers and changing your lives and transforming your lives, touching your lives positively. So making the world a better place for you to live in. And we are here to do that. Thank you very much